back in the West Coast at the halfway mark of the regular season in a dash for the new year and an opportunity at a fourth different winner. Overhead, Fontana, California is where you'll find this beautiful and virtual Auto Club Speedway, the site of the race number 5 in Season 2 of the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series and the California 140. Excited to have you with us back here on the KBueno Racing Network, where up atop the broadcast booth, my name is Kenneth Bueno. And over the past couple of races, we've had many different types of tests, whether it comes from the large track at Daytona, the 1.5 miler at Las Vegas, we had our short track at Phoenix, had another strategy race at Kansas, but now things open up once more. We take a step to this 2-mile D-shaped oval, one that provided us a fantastic finish and a great race one season ago. We'll see if we can get a brand new winner and maybe make ourselves known into who's going to be the heavy favorites when it comes down for those playoffs. And as we head into this race here tonight from Auto Club Speedway, just before we get to a lot of the other details, before we drop the green flag here from California, we'll take a look at our full season schedule. We'll see exactly where we've headed already, where we are going tonight, and where we are going for the rest of the season. Tonight, as pivotal as ever, race number 5, it is the official halfway mark of the season. So we've seen a lot of drivers step into a rhythm. Some drivers have yet to find their luck, but this time could be the opportunity for them to all turn it all around and be able to have themselves as a formidable challenge against everybody else in the point standings. Of course, Auto Club race number 5, tonight, December number 15th, and then we have December 29th in 2 weeks' time. We'll take a short week break for the holiday weekend, and then we'll have Long Beach on the schedule. The first time WORC ever visits Long Beach with these NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, so that's going to be provide for a fantastic challenge. Texas makes its way into the schedule as the patriotic race on January 5th, so as the start of the new year, 2023. Then we head to Charlotte Dirt, Atlanta, and Myrtle Beach to close off this 2022-23 regular season. Then, of course, we start the playoffs at Charlotte. We go all the way to Homestead of Miami Speedway in mid-March to decide the 2023 champion for Season 2 of the series. We've already had a couple of winners so far this season, and last week proved no different as we had another new winner added to the list. And win number 3 in terms of different amount of drivers heading to victory lane, we went to green flag at Kansas Speedway for the Maverick Motorsports Prairie Shootout, and it was an easy start for Ryan Barone in the number 46 against Garrett White in the 26. And then all of a sudden, things came to a crashing halt for the 46. Took the lead on the opening lap, hit the outside wall entering turn 3, and then Lucas Lyons comes slamming in, created the biggest crash we've seen at Kansas, and the only caution we saw all night long, but sure did. It really rack up a bunch of cars. Here's a look from Lyons' perspective. This unfortunately got into the 46 of Barome, had a technical issue going into turn 3, and it just caused that big crash early on. We stayed green all the way to the end. We fast forward to just before the green flag pit stops, lap number 27, and a challenge for the race lead. Garrett White looking to the inside of Gino Mero in the 71. And it looked like that was going to be it. White able to hold on to the lead, and Mero had a chance to respond. Coming back to turn 1, tried the slide job in 1 and 2, could not do it. And Garrett White would then hold on to the lead. We would have a bunch of green flag pit stops. Dimitri Munjos with a pit road speeding penalty. He got taken out of contention for the win of this race in particular. Would have been his 3rd win in a row, but all at the end, it was Garrett White in the number 26 taking his 1st win of season number 2, and most importantly, his 5th all-time in his WORC Dynamo Designs National Series career. He stays as the all-time wins leader in this series, and is going to look to come into this track here at Auto Club with a head of steam and looking to make himself known as a championship favorite and a driver to go back to that championship 4 where he fell short just a couple of months ago. Well, drivers are lined up on the starting grid, and just before we get to the starting grid and who's starting where here in this California 140 from Auto Club, we'll take a look at our point standings. This is where everybody stands in your top 10 after the first 4 or so races. Garrett White, with that win at Kansas, solidifies him as the official points leader. Dimitri Munjos, those 2 wins, obviously keeps him in the top 3, though 17 points behind that number 26 of Garrett White. So Munjos, a little work he needs to do if he wants to take control officially of the point standings. Joe Berge, a lot of consistent runs over the first 4 races. He's inside the top 3, but he's chased down by Gino Mero in the 71. Just a couple of points behind him. A 6-point gap between those 2 drivers, and then it goes all the way back to 64 points points behind your leader, Josh Patterson, defending series champion, looking to do it all over again, has struggled over the first handful of races. It felt like Kansas really was the breaking point where he was able to finally get through and get a solid finish. We'll see if he can do it all over again from Auto Club Speedway. Let's take a look at your starting grid, see exactly where everybody is starting. And Christian Visconti returns to the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. Will look for his third career victory. He is on pole with a 40.674. Dimitri Munjos looking for win number 3 on the calendar year. Is going to end up outside in that first row. Behind him, you'll find John Canizaro. A lot of good finishes and good races at these bigger tracks. He starts P3. Ethan Fonseca Moreno to the outside in P4. Brandon Sampson, the driver to line up the rest of the top 5. Ryan Kame in the 23. Great qualifying effort for him. He's outside that row in P6. Sky McGurk, the rookie driver in the number 82, starts 7th. Hayes Booth in the 03. Still looking for that first win of the year. He will be P8. P9 will go to Timmy Spatz in the 54. Nicholas Budimlik in the number 84 will be outside in the top 10. We'll scroll through your grid as things continue to move forward. There's a lot of cars in this grid, a total of 43 total. That ends all the way with Jacob Stamps in the number 977. So a lot of cars in this field, a packed house here in California, not too far away from Hollywood proper, here in Fontana. But it's looking like a star-studded show as the field will come out of turn 4. And the iRacing official pace truck will make the step down to the pit lane. It'll be Christian Visconti, the 80 machine, the 60 machine of Dimitri Munjos, the first row, the Ford Mustang, and the Chevy Camaro into the restart zone for the first time this evening. And to the green flag, the California 140 is underway from Auto Club. Three wide for third. Dimitri Munjos trying to play some defense. John Canizaro slips in his second, and Christian Visconti calmly leads the opening lap here from Auto Club. The whole field goes to the first green lap without any trouble. Visconti easily holding on, and Canizaro looking to chase him down as Ryan Kane will steal away third from Munjos. Under fire now from Hayes Booth, who goes into the outside wall. Chase Marsden is in there as well. Ethan Fonseca Moreno slaps the wall to follow. And he'll bring a couple of cars with them to the apron, but it looks like we'll stay green. And some chaos already unfolding in the opening second lap. And now the caution flag officially waves. Looks like more trouble near the rear of the field. And it may involve... well, it might have been Jacob Stamps or maybe others in it. And the caution flag waves for the first time tonight, lap number 3. We'll try to see exactly what happened. There's a look at the 00. Ethan Fonseca Moreno with some heavy damage on his Ford Mustang and started up inside the top 5. And now we'll have to really play some catch-up here as we'll take a look at exactly what happened here on the back straightaway coming out of turn 2. You can carry a lot of speed here at Auto Club Speedway. The only problem with that is because this track is so wide and so fast, you can easily get over eager and put yourself into the wall and maybe crash a couple of cars with it. You see Hayes Booth just gets sanded in the wall by Dimitri Munjos, both of them racing hard for position. And then Ethan Fonseca Moreno just gets caught up in the mess. That's Timmy Spatz underneath that American flag number Chevy Camaro. And you see everybody else on a slow field just trying to get around. It looked like it was really hard to get around all that. It looks like Timmy Spatz came back up into traffic. Didn't really look like there was anybody else significantly involved, or at least spun around or caught up in a huge crash. It just felt like that was the incident. And race control deemed it enough to throw that yellow flag. And it looks like we will be under it for the first time. Much like last week's race at Kansas. Early yellow to start. We'll see, though, if the trend follows and we'll end up having a green flag run all the way to the end. But your top 3, a little bit changed from the drop of lap number 1. Christian Visconti, of course, still your leader. And John Canizaro doing a great job of moving into second. Ryan Kame to slip into third. And Munjos there had to play some heavy defense against the likes of Ryan Kame and Hayes Booth and others. He's now fallen to P4. But again, opening lap on the run, everybody's pushing their car to try and get as much track position as possible. And so you're going to have that happen. Some of the miscommunications, some drivers hitting the wall, and of course that caution that comes out. Looks like Ethan Fonseca Moreno might have taken a trip down to pit road. He's joined by a lot of other people in the field. And so it looks like we may go for a single file restart. According to WORC rules, we do have that rule where if a caution comes out inside 5 laps of the initial restart, or the restarts after that, the initial start or the restarts after that, then we will have a single file jump. We'll see if race control decides to do the same. That's been the case every single time we've had an early yellow. I can count immediately 3: Las Vegas, Kansas, and now Auto Club here in the season schedule. Speaking of Auto Club, let's take a look at our track map with images provided by Google Earth to get a little more detail as to what this Auto Club Speedway is all about. This track opened all the way back in 1997 and has put up some great racing in the NASCAR League. It opened with the Indy cars in mind as well. IndyCar kart used to race here for the US 500. I believe actually the California 500, they did have the 500 for the season finale not too long ago. It's a 2-mile, 3.219-kilometer D-shaped large oval similar to Michigan International Speedway. You'll find 14 degrees of banking in turns 1 through 4, 11 degrees on the front straightaway to the start-finish line, and 3 degrees on that back straightaway. So it's a very big track, very wide, and very fast. That's what makes it so fun, and we see a lot of pack racing, a lot of draft in effect as well. It's what really played to Joe Berge's favor when he ended up in victory lane last time we were here in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. Was able to push it 3 wide in the middle of the pack, take away a couple of spots in half a lap, and then be able to hold on for the race win. So just like I said, according to WORC rules, we are going to have a single file restart this time by getting the field all together. Lap number 6 of 70. The WORC officials did decide to extend this race. It was initially going to be scheduled for a 60-lap, 120-mile shootout. A little shorter than what was the distance of 65 laps last time we were here. They decided to extend it by 5 laps from last season, make it 70, so officially 140 miles. They felt 70 was the proper amount of time to have the field racing under green. And there's Christian Visconti, a driver who obviously is very familiar with victory lane in this series. Took away 2 wins in the first 3 races of season number 1, both at Atlanta and Kansas, but he's never had a win at a track this big, not like Daytona, Talladega, or like these ovals, Michigan or Auto Club. And Visconti looking to change that tide in a new paint scheme, and he'll lead the field green on a single file restart once they get to the Geico zone. So pace truck will make that left to the pit lane. It's all on discretion of this number 80 machine. We'll see how Canizaro, Ryan Kame, and everybody else do to follow in response. Green flag back in the air. Restart lap number 6. Visconti already up to a lead, still all single file, but look at the whole pack developing behind him. That's Ryan Barone in the 46, 64 of Jared Hernandez on the outside. These both battling for the inside of the top 13 or so. Hernandez going to hold out strong. Laith Hicks, that bright yellow car in front of him. How about 3 wide behind? Grayson Collins, Bro Krebs, Frederick Seagraves, and Austin Doran as well in the 55 going against Michael Walls. And now going to look underneath that 93 of Seagraves. And just like I said, draft very important at a track like Auto Club, and you'll have these packs around the entire field. The amount of cars that we have here tonight, 43 in total. It definitely helps to have a lot of cars around you, and look at the lanes that everybody's choosing. Barone in the middle, Hernandez up top, Collins looking to take 2 for 1 down low, and he may have a successful time doing that. As they move into turn 3, and contact behind them, and 1 car around to the inside wall. I believe that's Bo Krebs. And he will slam to the inside wall. Heavy damage on his Chevy Camaro, but he's underneath the racing line, so no caution. Lap 7. And a tough hit there for the driver of the 168, Bo Krebs, who immediately toes to the pit road. He is out of this race. Here's on board with Timmy Spatz, moving all the way in 34th. Remember, he was slightly involved in that opening caution, watching 3 wide just in front of him. Ryan Martin, Diego Roldan, and David Bachman in the 119. He's going to back out, let them all by, and Spatz maybe going to make it 3 wide here. That's under Joe Berge as well. number 41. So a lot of pack racing around this group. Connor Hervilla in this as well, as he's also 3 wide. They're almost making contact up in front. That's Caden Rife, Ryan Zabo in it, and maybe even a bit of Clayton Ramstead, but they'll settle out. This is for 27. And Rife is able to clear. Looks like that battle around the top 30, and even your top 33 is still rampant. 72, Diego Roldan, Joe Berge, the 41, David Bachman, the 119. I say most of them all single file, nobody going 3 wide quite yet. So we keep an eye on them as they continue to do battle. Watch another 3 wide situation. DJ Powell underneath, Austin Doran, the 46, Orion Barome at the very top. And how about Seth Warren? That 081 machine, that yellow Toyota Supra, may poke the nose to the middle, and they'll use the draft help. In fact, a 3, almost 4 wide, going back to turn 1. And look at how the field remains all packed together, even in the mid-pack, still fierce fighting around these positions. And there's Austin Doran, that blue and yellow car all the way up at the top, going to be able to take that position away. That's the 84 of Nicholas Budimlik. And it looks like, for the moment, they'll be okay, as we might have had a challenge. In fact, still a challenge for the race lead. Top 3 have broken away, and we may be 3 wide for P1. Back to turn 1. Cannizzaro looking underneath Visconti. We talked about how good Cannizzaro has been over the first handful of races, and he's shown so much consistency, most notably at these larger tracks. And Cannizzaro doing all that he can to hold the inside. He'll slide up in front of Visconti, and the 18 of John Cannizzaro takes the lead. Visconti looking to respond on the inside. And if you're Ryan Kame, you just hang in the mix. Wait for them to do their own bidding. And Kame just going to wait. They remain side by side, door to door. They have broken it up by almost 1.5 seconds to Gino Mero, who sits in P4. But for now, Cannizzaro, Visconti still going at it, door to door for the lead. And Kame looking to support the 80 back to turn 1. And this time, looks like Visconti not able to officially keep himself underneath that 018. So new race leader, the number 018 of Christian Visconti, or rather John Cannizzaro's Christian Visconti tries to play defense against Ryan Kame. Back to turn 3. And they'll all single file out. Looks like they lost some time to Gino Mero, who was caught up to this pack in P4. There he is, that Ford Mustang on the background. And then there's even more of a gap, maybe almost a full 2 seconds before we get back to TJ Lair in the 85. As he's holding out a group of Josh Patterson, Ethan Workman, Henry Clappert, who I believe is going side by side with Dimitri Mundros, who remains on a free fall in the opening 13 laps of this race. And Laith Hicks looking to the inside, some solid progress out of the 06 in the opening handful of stints from Auto Club. So we keep an eye on that. Here's another battle inside the top 15. This is DJ Powell, Jarek Hernandez. And Powell had fallen off a little bit. That 86 inspired paint scheme out of Brandon Built Motorsports. And the driver that did have that throwback with the UPS colors in spirit of Dale Jarrett. And there's Jarek Hernandez looking at the bottom. Logan Suyi to follow in the mix in that black and yellow number 19 Toyota Supra. But it looks like they'll all remain calm. We remain mostly with a single file field, a couple of side-by-side battles in the mid-pack, but for the most part, everybody trying to make sure they're all single file and ready to go on this, what could be our first long green flag run into a first round of pit stops. So we have seen that happen before. A lot of the cautions come out very early, and we proceed to have really long runs to the end, and the race really just turns on strategy's sake and how well you can perfect that. As you watch a battle inside the top 5, that's TJ Lair in that 85 machine, and playing defense going to remain in front of Josh Patterson. How about Ethan Workman to the inside, and that'll be for P6. And Josh Patterson still trying to get back to victory lane and trying to get back to some consistency after what's been a rough opening 4 races in Season 2 of the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. And we always point out that topic as the 0-2 goes a little wide out of turn 2, and we'll keep Ethan Workman to the bottom in that challenge for P6. Patterson, when we talk about it, in defending champion's sake, it can be a lot of pressure put on you as a driver coming off of a championship to do it all over again. And if not, if you didn't do the greatest in the regular season, to do better in the regular season, put your foot on the neck of the competition and be able to assert your dominance really and keep it intact. as the competition rises and as new drivers emerge into the fold. And it looks like Patterson has not been able to maintain the consistency he gathered in Season 1, at least in the regular season. Hopefully we see things turn around. He comes into tonight 10th in the point standing, 64 points below your current leader in that group, and Garrett White in the 26. As one driver hits the outside wall, that was Henry Clapper, but had been pushed on the track in that battle for position behind Patterson. And Clapper going to escape with some right front damage and some drop position as a result. Back to turn 3. There's Michael Walls, Brandon Sampson, drivers 11th and 12th on the track. And a look underneath Clapper, and they may be 3 wide up the road. That's TJ Lair. Some help from Josh Patterson, and saw them go 3 wide for a moment at a turn 4. And Workman still remaining to the inside of that 0-2, back to turn 1. And we're trying to keep it as those 3 will keep battling on the racetrack. And it looks like that has really allowed your top 4 or 5 or so to pull away. And you watch the potential battle for the race lead. That's Visconti still behind your current race leader in John Cannizaro, the 018, right on board with Visconti this time at a turn 4. And great to see Christian Visconti back in WORC Dynamo Design's National Series competition. It has been a while since we've seen the 80 car in WORC competition, at least with these Xfinity cars. And remember, those 2 wins at the start of the season a couple of months back, we thought he was going to be an easy championship favorite. I believe could not make the rest of the races for the end of the season and could not capitalize on what was a rapid fire start. And so nice to see Visconti back in the mix. He has not attended any of the opening races in the first 4, so his first start officially tonight here in season number 2. And that 80 machine already looking as strong as always. He'll work the middle lane to try and get around Cannizaro, who slides up at a turn 4. This may be the run that Visconti needs to take away the race lead. They have officially pulled away by a couple of car lengths to Ryan Kame in the number 23, who's occupied the 3rd place position out on the racetrack. It looks like Visconti will not pull the trigger. He'll stay behind the back of that 018 and will stay green as we head for lap number 19, which we should, by the way, if we do stay green, end up in green flag pit stop circumstances. You might be under that rain as a couple of drivers might be deciding to come in for service. And fuel going to be the utmost importance, especially as we close in on halfway. Here's Nicholas Budimlik in the number 84, Brandon Sampson. Now Logan Sui, the 19, bringing Chase Marsden, the 89. Some of the drivers in Marsden who had got caught up in the crash at Kansas last week at lap number 1. It looks like they're all going to be fighting for position inside the top 15. There's Caden Reif, that 97 machine. And even then further behind, Ryan Martin, the 9, Joe Berge, and the number 41, who did go to victory lane last time we were here at Auto Club Speedway. Of course, had a different manufacturer, different number, and a different sponsor on his car, but it was the same Joe Berge that made that clutch performance in the handful of laps. So he got a restart inside 3 laps to go. Berge made a daring pass in the middle, 3 wide. And then it was Berge's race to lose. Held on to the lead while everybody fought for position behind. And it was Berge's race to win at the end of that and became another different winner in that series. And that was race number 6 that we had Auto Club in the schedule. Not too far away from the placement on this year's events. Race number 5 this time around. And Berge still holding out the top 20. And we'll see if he can gain some more spots. He'll look to the inside of Brandon Sampson, that 96 this time. And we'll even look maybe for more in the 97 of Caden Reif as Logan Suyi and the number 34 Henry Clapper continue to do battle. And Budimlik in the 84 has since pulled away P13. Here's Dimitri Mounjos under fire from Michael Walls in the number 45, and or rather Moonjos in the number 60. Has not been able to get on the hot foot or at least keep that consistency high. Looks like he's continued to drop positions down on the track, and Moonjos going to drop to 9th. We'll try a crossover. We had a turn 4 underneath the 85. There's the 85 of TJ Lair up in front. The 06 Leith Hicks. All them in a 4-car quartet this time, lap number 22. We should be expecting pit stops this time through as Visconti did get around Cannizaro back for the race lead. We should be expecting pit stops soon. We really didn't see that many drivers come in for pit road on the opening lap because, again, it's just an opening lap or so caution. You don't really have a lot of time on the tires, a lot of time with your equipment out on track in a run, so you really don't think about coming in for service. I think now as the tires continue to fall off and as we've seen drivers go as far as 29 laps on the intermediate 1.5-mile tracks, you better believe we may see some of the same, if not even less, of a window as we cross the line for lap number 22. They did also have time to clutch in their cars, so obviously they could have saved a couple of drops of fuel, but it won't have mattered that much with the amount of laps that were under yellow. And so we'll just have to see. But so far, none of your leaders, nobody in the top 15 or so, have elected to come in. All of them still waiting to bite the bullet, and I believe just playing that waiting game. Understanding maybe one driver needs to come in first before they let everybody else in. As you watch Lath Hicks track the outside wall, that's DJ Powell in the 356 to go by. And so they'll all single file out. We remain in somewhat of a caution-free state as we continue to watch battles around your top 30 or so. So here's a look at Steven Shipman in the number 61 driving in P36 right now. But we do have understanding from one of our users in the YouTube chat, Stevo224, that it is Steven Shipman's birthday. So happy birthday to Steven Shipman. Hope he has spent it well tonight. Hopefully we can see him recoup and gather some more positions here at the end of tonight's race from Auto Club. We do have drivers, though, down pit road this time by. And it all starts with Henry Clappert in the 34, Gino Mero in the 71. Two opposite ends of the spectrum. We saw Clappert hit the outside wall, drop a lot of positions in the mid-pack. And the 71, Gino Mero, he came in from inside the top 5. So a opposite spectrum case here. We'll see if anybody else elects to come in. It looks like we may have some more drivers come down pit row. We haven't had anybody inside the top 5, but it looks like the drivers in the mid-pack may decide to do so, as Dimitri Munoz got way sideways coming out of turn 4 on the straightaway, but he keeps it straight. And there was contact, believe, between himself and the 356 of DJ Powell. Watch this as Powell tried to go 3 wide. That was on top of Michael Walls in the 45. And right there, just up the track into Munoz, and Munoz goes sideways. He's able to save it. Caution flag, though, will wave. And I believe a big crash as well, hearing multiple drivers involved, and DJ Powell might be one of the ones in it, and indeed he is. There's CJ Allaire with some significant damage on the rear side of his race car. We saw him inside the top 10. And it looks like him, Powell, involved in a big skirmish at lap number 26, and that will be the saving grace for everybody waiting to take a step down a pit road. We'll see exactly what happened, and this was in that quartet with Dimitri Munoz, who got sideways off the contact from Powell the lap before. This is battling with Michael Walls in the 45. Looks like Allaire might have washed up a little bit out of turn 2. And Munoz actually got into a 356 of Powell, so a little bit of drama there. Remember, we saw them make contact as Powell slid up the track. It's on the exit of turn 2. We see many times where that outside can be very dangerous. You slide up the track, you wear out the right front, you could easily tap the outside wall, but that was not the case. And it was Munoz just going at the 356 and then tagging TJ Allaire, and then Allaire gets an extra hit and goes straight for the inside wall. And had that rear end damage even before striking the safer barrier, but he ends up as the ultimate victim in all this. And it creates roughly a 3-car incident, and it looks like Dimitri Munoz just had enough of it and tags a 356 of Powell and causes our second caution of the night at lap number 26 in this California 140. Here are your leaders down at pit road: Visconti, Cannizzaro, Ryan Kame, and the rest coming in for service. We saw the great battles between Visconti and Cannizzaro. We'll see if they continue, and they will bring basically everybody onto the pit lane for the first time here tonight. Some of them taking their second trips in for service, but 4 tires and fuel jacks are up on the race cars. And we'll have a race out of pit road. We'll see exactly who comes out first. Couple of drivers getting damage repair. There are no faster pairs in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series, so you also have to keep that in mind if you grab a bit of crinkles on your race car. It looks like no challenge for the lead out of pit road. All Christian Visconti, John Cannizzaro, Ryan Kame inside your top 3. Ethan Workman going to be able to take 4th away from Josh Patterson, your defending series champion, who wraps up your current top 5. 27 laps complete here in the California 140 here as we continue our coverage on the KBueno Racing Network. Visconti out in front. More from Auto Club on the other side of the break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Beyond the Lights Road to Charlotte is out now. Join Justin and Quentin Haley in a 4-part documentary series as they take on the famed dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. All episodes are available now, and you can visit their YouTube channel, youtube.com/LimeAidMedia, to start watching today. 28 laps complete here in the California 140 from the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. Kenneth Bueno in the broadcast booth, ready for a restart here at lap number 29 of 70 off of our recent caution, and the entire field coming down pit road. A caution involving DJ Powell, TJ Lair, and the 60 machine of Dimitri Munjos. We will double them up this time out of turn 4. And it will be Christian Visconti, the 80 machine, the 018 of Cannizzaro, the two titans of tonight's race. Looking to lead us back to green at lap number 29. And the green flag back in the air. Visconti leading the group back to turn 1. And here comes Josh Patterson on the move, looking ahead of Ethan Workman. He'll slide loose at 25. Will open the door for everybody up on the top side and escapes without any more damage. The 25, though, going to plummet through the running order, and Patterson now enters the top 3 for the first time tonight. And we haven't talked about that often here at a track like Auto Club. You can really step out the rear end of this car if you're too heavy on the throttle. And it looks like that is exactly what happened to Workman. He drops all the way back to P7, now in a fight with Chase Marsden for position. As here's Nicholas Badimlik in the number 84. He steps into third as we have a side-by-side battle for the race lead. Here comes Cannizzaro to the inside of Visconti for P1. And now make it 3 wide for the top 3. That was Joe Berge looking underneath. How about Seth Warren in the 081 looking to the inside, and Patterson will drop off to P6. He'll try to pinch the 41 on the outside at turn 4 as Workman still tries to recoup. Marsden, though, hard in the outside wall, and more cars involved, and a caution flag out for the 3rd time tonight. We'll try to see exactly who it was, but cars went sideways. Race control deemed it fit to throw the yellow. We'll see exactly what happened. Looked like a driver significantly caught up in it, and it might have been Lucas Lyons in the 94 machine. Indeed it was. That looks like Brandon Sampson, the 96, that got into him on the way to turn 3. There's Lyons there in the 94. You see Sampson there in the background. Jarek Hernandez looking to the inside for turn 3. Sky McGurk in the 82. I think it might have just been a too big dive on the brakes heading for turn 3 right there. They just converge and make contact. And as Sampson just had the better entrance to the corner, Lyons could not anticipate the run, and they both end up making that contact. And the 94 of Lyons parks against the outside wall. He has since towed it to pit lane. It looks like his race may not be over completely, but he has already dropped a couple of laps on track, so it may just not be the greatest route ever here at all for the driver of the number 94. So that brings us another yellow here, lap number 31 of 70. We approach the official halfway mark of tonight's race in the California 140. And still Christian Visconti mans this race. John Cannizzaro has been able to keep him at bay, though, at least from running away from the field. Been able to keep him honest and maintain a side-by-side battle, and it looked like Canizaro might have officially taken the lead away. Visconti was able to hold on to it, and Seth Warren has officially stepped into the top 3 for the first time tonight. Same deal for Nicholas Bodimlik in the number 84, and for Joe Berge. First time we see them in the top 5 throughout this race. All of them getting by Josh Patterson and Ethan Workman, both of them having a little bit of falters here on the opening laps of that restart. But they'll have a chance to redeem themselves this time through, as I believe we'll have a single file start. We'll see exactly who can get the jump better than the other. So already way more cautions that we've had in the past couple of races. I know Phoenix did have a couple of yellows throughout that event. And Kansas followed in the same tracks as Las Vegas. Those 1.5 milers surely have brought us some of the cleaner races throughout the season. We see one caution early on. Drivers get their jitters out of the way. And then all of a sudden we see a full-on strategy race to the finish. We haven't seen so much of that here tonight from Auto Club, although we could have another green flag run like we did in that opening stint to bring us potentially a pit road strategy call under green. That caution really was the saving thing for everybody. Everybody could just not have to worry about going under green for pit stops, and instead could just bring the whole field together all in one piece, everybody on the same page. And so that saved all of them from all of the trouble they would have to make with their strategists, or even just by themselves in their minds, having to work what lap they wanted to go in, the undercut, the overcut, and how that was all going to work in terms of traffic. So we'll get the 1 to green signal from the iRacing official pace truck. It looks like we will go double file after all. I was anticipating single file restarts as the caution came out just after we dropped the green flag not too long ago. But it looks like we will stay double file for this grouping. And Christian Visconti, John Canizaro lines up the inside and outside of row number 1 back to the green. Seth Warren, Nicholas Budimlik, the 081-84 will be the 2 drivers in row number 2. Joe Berge rounds out your top 5, then followed by Josh Patterson, Ethan Workman, Chase Marsden, Ryan Martin, and the 21 of Clayton Ramsett. It's been a completely different shift in the front of the field. A lot of the drivers you saw at the very front to start this race are nowhere to be seen right now. And with the 43-car field we started with here from Auto Club, it's safe to say it's going to take a lot of work if they want to make their case known back to the front. And obviously, with the way this race has panned out, maybe cautions could help keep the whole field together and keep them from separating. But long green flag runs is really going to be the best place and the best scenario you want to have if you want to outlast everybody else and be able to gain a lot of spots out on the racing surface. So we'll exit turn 4, lap number 34 will kick off out of 70. We'll reach the official halfway mark of the halfway race in the Season 2 schedule for the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. Christian Visconti will be the one at discretion. It's all on John Canizaro and everybody else to react properly. How much pack racing will we see on the restart? We'll just have to find out. Into the Geico restart zone, Visconti would go. He'll hop on the gas. They stack up on the bottom. Green flag back in the air in the California 140. On a car around, it looks to be one of the drivers near the back. That was Jacob Stamps in the 977. He'll spin in the grass on the apron. We will stay green. And some early drama before we could officially get to turn 1, but the field will scatter and a driver into the outside wall. That's Patterson. And here comes John Canizaro for the lead back to turn 3. Canizaro has been trying all race long to officially clear Visconti and hold on to the lead. It has not been successful, at least for now. He'll take the lead, though, at a turn 4 and a power move by Canizaro to take back the lead at lap 35. The battle's brewing inside your top 15. There's Gino Mero. We saw him pit under green before that caution came out, dropped him so many positions in the field. Now having to work his way through the toughest part of the track with Ryan Zabot, Chase Marsden, that's Michael Walls on the 45. They're 3 wide behind them, and they make contact as Ryan Zabot, Michael Walls, and company will move up the track. The 45 of Walls will go sideways. And caution is out again. All around Zabot and Gino Mero. And even Lath Hicks had contact. And Michael Walls goes for a spin and has even more contact as he spins at the entrance of turn 3. And the caution flag will wave on a large stack up on the back straightaway. Watch this, a 45 tries to keep pace behind the 89. Chase Marsden in that Falcon machine. And you'll watch this, a big push here will hit to the 89 and then moves down the line as they go across the bumps. Those bumps very violent. You can really feel them here at the Auto Club Speedway. That's Austin Dorn, a huge hit. Brayson Collins gets smacked in it as well. There's Brandon Sampson and everybody else trying to make sure they escape all the chaos. And there was Austin Dorn with absolutely nowhere to go in his machine or right on board with him. And he tries to enter the corner. He was in the bottom of 3 wide by the time they made contact in the front. You see it right there at the top of the screen. The smoke and billow. Those cars travel down the racing surface. Doran tries to slow down, but nothing you can do to get out of it. Slams into Brayson Collins. And then one car just goes up and over. There's Ryan Kame involved in it. And just a large stack up and not a lot of places many drivers could go. And our caution flies once again. They're not 37 after a huge stack up and I think our largest wreck all race long. So we'll stay behind the pace truck. Cannizzaro still your race leader after taking it away from Christian Visconti on a power move from the outside. And we'll see exactly how things fare for everybody that got involved in that recent crash. Looks like everybody from Jeremy Cook 19th on back have decided to come in. TJ Lair, Sky McGurk, David Bachman. And then obviously those significantly involved. Ryan Zabo, Ryan Kame, Austin Dorn, Michael Walls, Jarek Hernandez. There's Henry Clapper in the 34, also coming out of pit lane. And the caution strike again. That is something that you'll see here at these larger tracks. You'll see so many drivers packed in the draft going 3, 4 wide sometimes. And even in 2 wide scenarios, you have drivers swerve across the track and through those bumps, or somebody gets a little understeery. They push up the track out of turn 2 or turn 4. You'll see the contact happen, and there's not much people can do to escape all of that calamity when they're all packed in closely together. That was one thing that was great about the scenario that happened in the caution under the green flag circumstance was because there were a couple of cars involved, yes, based on what happened with DJ Powell, TJ Lair, and Dimitri Mundros in the 60, but there was that saving grace that not many people were around them at the time of caution, so only about 1 or 2 drivers got the damage. Nobody else could be collected in it because they were so far apart this time around. So many people so close together. One car makes a mistake. They make contact. Everybody tries to slow down. Some of them make miscommunications. On that slowdown, you have more contact as a result. And then there's some drivers, much like in the case of Austin Dorn in the 55, just absolutely no real estate to maneuver with the speed they're going out into turn 3. So that collects a lot of cars and will be the biggest casualties that we'll see, I believe, hopefully for the rest of this race in this California 140. But we do have the iRacing official pace truck with its lights off, so we will get the green this time through. Cannizzaro, your race leader. Christian Visconti to the outside of row number 1. Seth Warren, Joe Berge, the driver, is lining up inside and outside of row number 2. It'll be Nicholas Budumlik in the 84, lining up the top 5. Josh Patterson, Ethan Workman, Ryan Martin, Chase Marsden, and the 71 of Gino Mero to round out your top 10. So ready for green once again. Lap 39 of 70. We'll cross to the final 30 laps here from Auto Club Speedway. We'll see whether pit road strategy might be in effect after all. These drivers 11 and 12 laps in their respective stint. Pace truck down to the entrance of pit road and an early jump for Cannizzaro back under green in the California 140. Solid start by Cannizzaro to keep himself a couple of car lengths in front of second. Battle for the top 6. That's Ryan Martin, Nicholas Budumlik, the 9 and the 84 going at it. They still go side by side. Even 1 row behind them, Ethan Workman and Gino Mero going at it for PA back to turn 3. And Mero, like I said, trying to pick up the pieces after being inside the top 5. That pit road sequence before the crash of Dimitri Mundros and DJ Powell and with the 85 of TJ Lair. And it looks like the 71 steps into 8th. Ryan Martin now falling back another spot. Lost the battle to Nicholas Budimlik. Now we'll go at it with him once again. Back to turn 1. Merrill will look to the inside this time through. And still a door-to-door will have position inside the top 10. It looks like everybody else has done a solid job to keep themselves clean. Some side-by-side battles near the rear of the field. That's Clayton Ramstead, P12, going at it with Laith Hicks, and even a bit of Diego Roldan in turn 3. Ramstead, we've seen him have some good starts to the larger track races, Kansas and Las Vegas. Has unfortunately picked up some damage here tonight, but you can never miss that bright neon and gray number 21 Ford Mustang. And Ramstead now under fire from Timmy Spatz for 13th, and he'll lose out on Laith Hicks and Diego Roldan, who might go side-by-side just in front of him. Take a shot here at the cars going side by side and just how closely everyone is packed together, even in the midfield. But they are all chasing John Canizaro, who's since taken the lead away from Christian Visconti, has not looked back, and he's pulled away to 0.3 of a second on the driver of the 80. Set a faster lap. In fact, they were almost completely identical. 40.893 from your race leader, 40.898 for second place Visconti. But Canizaro was holding in on that gap. I think this is exactly what he needs to have happen. Everybody battle behind them, have a clean rhythm race. Just try to take care of this thing all the way home and nurse it. As we have a battle for P3 out on the racetrack. Seth Warren, Joe Berge going at it, and Berge using the very top of the racetrack. And one thing that is amazing about this Auto Club Speedway, you have so many options out on the racing surface. And with the updates that it was given by iRacing, you can work that bottom, be fast. You can work the very top and be just as fast as well. And the 41 still maintaining with Warren, who has put up a fantastic effort all night long and has been able to stay in the top 5. Looks like the 81 might slide at the track, give the opportunity for Berge to clear. And so the 41 and your defending winner from the track up to the top 3 for the first time tonight. And Berge comes into tonight P3 in the point standings and one of the most consistent over the first 4 events. And of course, all of them trying to catch Garrett White in the 26, who unfortunately is not here tonight from Auto Club Speedway. So we do miss him, and hopefully we'll see him by the time we come back from holiday break. And of course, into the new year 2023, as he tries to go for his first WORC Dynamo Designs National Series Championship. And Berge looking to take away some significant points. And with him being in front of Dimitri Mundros right now, that might also help the case. It definitely could mean some big things going into Long Beach, which may just be the wild card race of this regular season. Although there may be some others. Charlotte Dirt in the mix as well. A whole dirt track, just like we had Volusia County Speedway Park last season be a wild card. We saw Myrtle Beach. It'll be the first time we see that on this schedule. A very short track and a very vigorous one at that to drive with these cars specifically. So like Long Beach, we'll see a lot of wild cards in this schedule. But of course, many opportunities here at these ovals for drivers to make the most out of their point situation. And Berge doing just that. And I believe actually catching up to your race leaders as they come out of turn 4. We might have a battle on our hands for P1. Indeed we do. Inside, Christian Visconti goes back for the point for turn 1. Visconti all the way at the bottom. Canizaro looking to pinch in the middle, and they'll stay door to door, and that continues to leave the opportunity wide open for Joe Berge. And the 41, they remain side by side. Visconti staying down low and not giving up. Will cling to the quarter panel, get some side draft off of the Ford Mustang. Now we are still even as we head into the final 25 laps in this California 140. Remember, this race may be long enough, at least after that most recent yellow, to warrant some green flag pit stops. But we'll just see how it all fares. You drivers might get very close to the end of that race inside 15, 10, maybe 5 laps to go when the sequences are going through. So maybe we have some early calls, but for right now, it looks like everything is all set and good. For the moment, Visconti grabs the apron coming wide out of turn 2. And it looks like he'll stay, though, with Visconti. No, he'll stay with Canizaro. And Joe Berge continuing to close the gap on board with the number 41 entering turn 3. And he loves the view he's seeing right now. Front row seat of the battle for the lead as Visconti tries a slide job coming out of turn 4. And Berge may have the chance here to make it 3 wide for the lead inside the final 20. battle inside the top 6. That was Josh Patterson going at it with Nicholas Budumlik in the 84. And remember, Gino Mero, we saw him enter the top 7 or so. Now he's dropped to P9. That's Ryan Martin, Ethan Workman going by for position. And they have since settled it out for your top 3. Looks like Visconti, a smart move. Notice that the 41 was catching. Decided, all right, I'm not going to fight you any harder, at least in Canizzaro's case, to go for the race lead. So they'll single file out, spread themselves apart again, and prevent inviting anybody else into the mix. We've seen that happen a lot at these larger super speedways and these 2-mile tracks where you can easily go side by side. Some drivers behind you couple up in a draft and they don't fight each other, and that can easily become a 5 or 6 car battle, maybe even more, depending on how many people accordion through the field. And for right now, it looks like Visconti is able to stop the bleeding. Here's a look again at Ethan Workman underneath Gino Mero in the 71. They continue to do battle. And it looks like finally Ethan Workman able to break through. Mero not going to try the crossover, so they'll stay single file, and both of them settling at the latter half of the top 10. So there's Dimitri Munoz, your second place driver in points. Coming into tonight, P16 on the racetrack. Looks like this has not been the track for Munoz, although he did start this race rather strongly up at the front. Didn't dominate at all, but was still in the top 5 and top 10. And now just trying to pick things up. Did have that contact with DJ Powell on the back straightaway to cause a caution earlier on in this event. And it looks to be heel look underneath the 21 of Clayton Ramstead. This is for P15 out of the racetrack, just behind the 19 of Logan Suyi. And again, side by side battle, we go for the lead. Visconti to the inside of Cannizzaro. Berge there on the background. And how many times did we see this? Both of these drivers going side by side. Cannizzaro still playing defense out of turn 4 as we cross for lap 50. And you got to commend the strength of these two drivers fighting for the lead lap after lap after lap. The only concern I have is just burning off the right front and burning off equipment. Remember, of course, they're bleeding time to the 41 of Joe Berge. They might just be doing the same with Seth Warren and Nicholas Budumlik, as it looks like the door was open for Berge to take space on top of Christian Visconti. Could not do it. And so we'll stay single file inside the top 3. But you don't want to stay side by side for that long in traffic. You burn off your equipment. You make your car handle a little bit worse as you're pushing harder through the run. And remember, we may be in the factor of a green flag pit stop or maybe even a yellow flag pit stop before the race is all said and done. So you can have a large transition in handling from a decent handling race car to a poor handling race car all at once in just a couple of laps if you burn off your equipment. But Visconti's still persistent to take away the race lead. Tries a slide job in 1 and 2. Can't quite make it work. It looks like he'll stay in front of the 018, at least for now. So maybe it does work. Battle for the lead. Now conceded. Cannizzaro gives up P1, and Visconti back to control. And a fantastic pass by Christian Visconti keeps him in the lead. Cannizzaro will hold out for second. And this top 3 have spread amongst themselves, and it looks like Nicholas Budimlik in the number 84 has cleared Seth Warren for 4th, and he set some fast laps on the racetrack. 42.127. And the fastest out of your top 5. So we may see this 84 machine back up to the front and maybe even taking away the lead coming into the final 18 laps of this California 140. But Dimblick making his first start and his debut run in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series, at least for Season 2 as that's concerned. And look at the progress he's made so far in this race over the first 52 laps. He's kept this car clean. He's been so competitive with the drivers up the front. And now this chance here to take away P3 and to continue battling with all these guys up at the very front. Looks like Visconti has taken a trip. He's pulled the trigger to pit road. Your race leader goes lap 52. And we were wondering when the drivers up at the front were going to officially bite the bullet and make it a pit strategy race. Remember, you don't want to pit too late and have yourself pick up the pieces by the time you get to 15 or 10 laps to go, or even 5, as Joe Berge will actually give up the race lead by his lonesome out of turn 2. We'll hand it back to Cannizzaro. And we'll see what happens with Cannizzaro and company, whether they hop on the brakes and head for pit road. Looks like the answer for Cannizzaro is going to be yes, down a gear on the brakes, and he comes by himself onto the pit lane. And the second driver to bite inside your top 5, Cannizzaro, comes for service for the final time. And so that will hand the lead to Joe Berge, who's had a lot of experience leading the field on overcuts. There's Christian Visconti emerging back onto the racing surface at a turn 2. And we may even have a battle for the race lead brewing once again, but two different takers, the 41 and the 84, might challenge going back to turn 3. We'll see, though, just what Berge does, whether he wants to stay down there and head for pit road. Looks like the answer is going to be no. Seth Warren behind them, though, is going to hop on the brakes, so he'll come in. Looks like Ryan Martin and the 9 machine might follow. And so some more batches of cars. Looks like they'll be joined by the 70 machine of Jeremy Cook, a driver we really haven't talked about all night here from California. But he's done a nice job to keep his Toyota super clean in the No Fear car and head for pit road and for service. Of course, this is going to get this field to the end of this race as Joe Berge smacks the outside wall out of turn 2. Visconti going to unlap himself ahead of the 84. And so maybe that's a cue for Joe Berge as Ethan Workman follows soon third. There's Canizaro and Josh Patterson. Both of them have come down for service. And so it is only going to get more dramatic as Badimlik will stay out an extra lap. Visconti has already unlapped himself, and Josh Patterson may be in this mix to follow as well. He is the lucky dog car, and he also did take position ahead of Canizaro, so defending series champion with a potential smart call to get him in this race into the final 14. And just look at the tire discrepancy between the old tire cars and the new tire machines. As the O2 makes quick work of that 84 who holds on to P1. Looks like some more drivers have also taken a trip down for service. Kane Ramstead, Leif Hicks, Joe Berge in that 41 also in as well. There's him coming out of the box. And it looks like all of them will be ahead of Visconti and company. But that may change hands by the time this lap is complete. And Visconti should be your net race leader by the time you get everything back settled. Looks like Nicholas Badimlik in the 84 has finally called it quits on his run. So he comes in. And he'll be joined by Ethan Workman, the 25. It looks like Logan Suyi might follow. And a couple of others. That's Dimitri Mundros in the 60 machine. And all of them coming in this time through, so that will hand the lead to Diego Roldan in the 72. We should have him also come in for service as he comes out of turn 2 in a very slow Toyota Supra. You can tell just how much of the tire he's trying to hang on to for the end of this race. There's still a lot of drivers that have been put a lap down, or drivers that are staying out on the racetrack. So indeed, we could have a scenario where the lead might change hands and the time may be perfect here for everybody else to officially defeat Christian Visconti and company. Canizaro has worked his way by for what's going to be net P2. But it is all Christian Visconti, and the gap he's built up over that run to pit first might be the golden call to get him his first win of Season 2. And strategy wouldn't be the first and only time that's been the reason that the 80 machine has gone to victory lane. You can immediately think back to Kansas of last season, race number 3. Made a call to come in for pit road service and for 4 fresh tires. Gino Mero, a driver who took the risk and stayed out, but it was all Christian Visconti in the final 2 laps to take that lead away and take the win along with it. His second straight win of the campaign. And this time, can strategy give the 80 another checkered flag and what will be his third? And his WORC Dynamo Designs National Series career would tie him for second on the all-time wins list, with Parker White, the eNASCAR Contender iRacing Series driver, who has not made a start in Season 2 at least yet. And Visconti holding out that gap, 1.3 seconds back to John Canizaro. These two have been quite fierce since the drop of the green flag for the lead. And Canizaro might have that last chance coming into the final 10 laps as the driver staying out will try to hold out hope, but they may have to come down pit road sooner than later. Is your current race leader, Henry Clapper in the 34. David Bachman in second, the 119. Michael Wallace, who, by the way, was involved in that crash, heading for turn 3. The big stack up there on the back straightaway. He is now inside the podium position. Ryan Zabo, haven't talked about him most of all night long. Did get involved in an earlier crash on the back straightaway. Him and TJ Lair involved in that, both of them. Did a nice job to pick themselves up. And caution flag is out with 10 laps to go. And we'll try to identify exactly who might have been the cause of it, but a pivotal caution, and this changes everything. You saw the replay there, just ran out of space as Cook tried to make it 3 wide in the middle. Him, Marsden, and the number 29 of Hervilla. You saw the heavy damage to Hervilla's iRacing machine. It looks like he stays out for now, but his race might indeed be over. What that's going to do, though, give all these drivers at the front an opportunity to pit and have the freshest tires in the field. So that should hand the lead to Christian Visconti in the 80 machine. But what that is going to do, split the strategy up. Got a drivers on significantly fresh rubber. We did go a little while on that run. 9 laps for many of the drivers in the field as they cross the start-finish line. So there is going to be a large difference in the amount of grip. And Henry Clappert, who had been in trouble earlier on tonight, remember we saw him smack the outside wall out of turn 2 to start. It looks like this call might be the golden one. David Bachman, though, might beat him to the line first. Bachman going to take over maybe the net race lead out of pit road. Clapper will hold on to second. Michael Walls will be third. And that will leave 15 cars, or rather 14 cars ahead of them on the lead lap with a lot of time to spare. So it may be a pivotal call here with 8 laps to go here from the Auto Club Speedway. Remember, we are not unfamiliar with late race restarts. We had our deciding lead of the race to be decided in the final laps, in the final 3 laps after a restart with that amount of laps to go. And so we may have the same come up here as the whole field will pack together. All the gaps have been dissipated, and it's just going to be a mad dash to the finish to potentially give us our 4th different winner in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. Look at the different scenarios, though, between all the drivers in this field. At least as the top 5 is concerned, you've got Christian Visconti looking to tie for second on the all-times wins list. It will be his first win since Kansas of last season. It will be his first at a big 2-mile track in this series. It'll be the first ever win in this series for John Cannizzaro, a driver who has really picked up the consistency over the first 4 races, and to tonight be the breakthrough for that Ford Mustang tonight. Then you look at P3, Ryan Martin in the 9 machine, also looking for win number 1. Haven't talked about him. He really hasn't been in the spotlight through this race, but now in this possibility to win. Gino Mero looking for his first win since Las Vegas of last season. After having some ups and downs at the intermediate tracks, can he get his first win of this calendar year? Josh Patterson looking to officially wipe the monkey off his back with the pressure that he has as defending champion. And then you've got Seth Warren, Nicholas Budimlik, a pair of rookie drivers looking for their first win to punch into the ticket. Ethan Workman looking for his second since Homestead. And then Joe Berge rounding out the top 10, looking to be the driver to go 2 in a row at the same track in 2 consecutive seasons. So a lot on the line. We'll have a restart with officially 6 laps to go from Fontana, California. We'll line up the top 10 for you as it runs. Christian Visconti, your race leader. John Cannizzaro outside row number 1. P2, Ryan Martin. Gino Mero, the 2 drivers outside of row number 2. Josh Patterson to round out your top 5. Then Seth Warren, Nicholas Budimlik, Ethan Workman, Caden Reif, and Joe Berge in the number 41 to round out your current top 10. Although who's to say, it may stay the same in the final laps. We've seen 3 wide, 4 wide moves, and even more. So it's all a big question mark heading into the final handful of laps. And will everybody 15th on back have anything to say with those fresh tires? Into the Geico restart zone for what could be the final time. Christian Visconti leads them back to green and a turn 1 at lap number 64. Easy start for Visconti. Looks like no challenge for second. Martin tried to look to the inside of Cannizzaro. Could not do it. Patterson slides up the track in the middle of the top 6. And a couple of drivers might almost get to the outside wall. And will stay clean. Here's Gino Mero looking underneath Ryan Martin for P3. And for the drivers on fresh tires, looks like they haven't been able to do anything. Henry Clapper, the leader out of that group, still inside the top 15 and remaining door-to-door and almost contact between the 71 and the 9. Trying to side draft the 3rd car in it. That's Seth Warren in the 081. But they continue to bleed off time to your top 2. John Cannizzaro, Christian Visconti. We've seen them go head-to-head all evening long. And can Cannizzaro have anything for the number 80 machine by the time we finish this race? Here's 3 wide. Underneath Ethan Workman, Josh Patterson, Dimitri Munoz in that Ford Mustang looking to stay underneath, but he backs out. And then Joe Berge still there, P11. And none of them without any significant progress to start. And still all catching Visconti, who will catch the final 5 laps from the virtual Auto Club Speedway in this California 140, looking for his 3rd career victory. And if you're Canizaro right now, the last thing you want to do is overstep and make a mistake, most notably hit that outside wall. We've seen many times where drivers have tried to push their cars as hard as they can. They get a little bit too eager in the middle of the corner. They slide up the banking, and they slap that wall. It gives them absolutely no chance to catch back up, nor the time. And Canizaro playing it smart right now, running the very bottom line. But he has since yet to catch up to Visconti, who has opened it up to roughly half a second, and he will grab 4 laps to go from Auto Club. The battle for P6. Caden Wright, Nicholas Whittley back to turn 1. We haven't seen much of Caden Wright all night long. Remember, he had a podium a couple of weeks back in Phoenix. And looking to grab another top 10. He goes a little sideways out of turn 2. The 84 brushes the outside wall, and they make contact. Contact on the back straightaway. They're side by side. That's Henry Clappert finally weaving his way through lap traffic, or lead lap traffic. Josh Patterson looking to the inside. But the tire discrepancy and the difference may not be as much of an advantage for the drivers back there, as they'll settle it down around your top 6, and Canizaro continues to try and eye down your race leader, but the gap remains at 0.5 of a second with 3 laps to go. You can hear the modulation on the throttle. Canizaro trying all that he can to not overstep, but he continues to fall back, and Ryan Martin may be a challenge for P2 before this is all said and done. And look at the quartet from 5th on back, but Dimlick trying to hold on against Gino Mero and company. Mero backs it up in the middle of the corner, stacks up Reif and Workman. But Dimlick will hold on. The field remains single file. And the final 4 miles approach Christian Visconti as he tries to remain clean and pray for no yellow inside the final 2. And remember, we haven't seen a lot of Christian Visconti since that last win at Kansas in season number 1. And although he made some sporadic trips back to the racing surface in WORC competition, we really haven't seen him be a consistent force. Over the first 4 races, he was nowhere to be found, and finally makes this return. Visconti looking to come back with style as he'll head out of turn 4 and grab the white flag for the final 2 miles from Auto Club Speedway. Gap now at 0.6 of a second, and even better for Visconti, a battle for second. Ryan Martin looking to the inside on Canizaro. They'll possibly bring in Seth Warren in the 081, that yellow machine in the background, and that's only going to allow Christian Visconti to remain on a Thursday cruise to the checkered flag, what will be his 3rd career victory, with time for 2nd on the all-time WORC wins list in the Dynamo Designs National Series. Final time in a 3 and 4. Christian Visconti, the strongest car all night long, capitalizes in the strategy, capitalizes in track position, and Christian Visconti to the race win. Visconti takes it from Auto Club. Christian Visconti returns to WORC and remains on top. John Canizaro there, who comes home 2nd, able to hold off Ryan Martin. You have to give props to the 018, all the momentum he's built over the season. And there's Ethan Workman to give him a celebratory tap on the rear. Canizaro 5th in point standings coming into tonight's race. He should gain some more spots. Ryan Martin, though, who came absolutely out of nowhere, finishes inside the top 3 as they stack up. But it is all Christian Visconti to the race victory, his 3rd in his WORC Dynamo Designs National Series career, and the Visco car machine ends up in a familiar spot, victory lane in the California 140. Visconti will burn it down, and deservedly so. despite all the pressure from Cannizzaro and despite having to deal with the cautions throughout the race, Christian Visconti maintains composed and does what he does best. Goes out and leads laps. And Christian Visconti grabs another checkered flag in his WORC career and his first of season 2. He becomes the 4th different winner in this series, in this season. And he will park it in the perfect place here from Auto Club in Victory Lane at the front straightaway, right next to the scoring pylon. And Christian Visconti to the race win for the first time in season 2 here at the California 140 in a wild race to the finish. It was a long run, but it's Christian Visconti up at the very front to keep control and maintained over John Cannizzaro to take his first win of the season and his 3rd overall. John Cannizzaro still hungry for that first win. Unfortunately, it comes up just short, but still a defensive masterclass to hold off Ryan Martin in P3. And Martin doing a fantastic job. We'll talk to all 3 of your podium finishers before we close out our coverage here on the KBueno Racing Network. Seth Warren in the 081 ends up inside your top 4. And a great race for him. It'll be a top 5 for Nicholas Budimlik in the 84 machine. Caden Reif in the 97 puts up another great top 10 finish. He finishes in P6 at the checkered flag. Ethan Workman, a little bit of an up and down race for him, but Workman comes home in P7. Gino Mero to follow in P8. Henry Clapper rounds out your top 9. And Dimitri Munjos in the number 60. Unfortunately, could not get his 3rd win of the calendar year, but he does wrap up tonight with a top 10 finish. Michael Walls with a great recovery after being crashed at the entrance of turn 3 on the back straightaway. He ends up P11. It'll be P12 for David Bachman in the 119 in his first start this season. Ryan Zabot, a little bit of skirmishes throughout the race, but he ends up P13. It'll be a 14th place finish for your defending winner here at Auto Club, Joe Berge. Diego Roldan in the 72 wraps up the top 15. Clayton Ramstead is P16. 17th will go to TJ Lair in the 85. 18th will go to Timmy Spatz. 19th to your defending champion. Josh Patterson fell back in that last stint. And Jeremy Cook in the 20 got caught up in what was our final caution of the evening. And he ends up in that spot. 21st goes to Frederick Seagraves. 22nd to Brandon Sampson. 23rd to James Bomar. 24th to Jacob Stamps in the 977. It'll be a 26th place finish for rookie driver Sky McGurk. Steven Shipman, the birthday man, ends up 27th. Again, another happy birthday for Steven Shipman tonight. Connor Havrilla in the 29 is 28th. It'll be 29th for the 23 of Ryan Kame. And then to round out your top 30 is the 89 of Chase Marsden. Here are the group or in the batch of final drivers in this field. 31st to Chris Lilly, 2 laps down, so Logan Suyi will be 14 laps down in 32nd. Laith Hicks, 33rd. 34th to Brayson Collins. Austin Doran got caught up in a crash in turn 3, rounds out your top 35. Then Nick Pena, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, DJ Powell, Lucas Lyons, and to round out your top 40, the 03 of Hayes Booth unfortunately did not have a great race. And here come the final 3 drivers in our grid. Ryan Barone in 41st, Bo Krebs in 42nd, and the 92 of Alexander Hyder wrap up your 43 car field here in a full packed crowd here from Auto Club Speedway and this California 140. Well, it's our time to talk with the driver who ends up in victory lane, and that is the driver of the 80 machine, and that is, of course, Christian Visconti in his number 80 car, who gets the victory lane for the 3rd time in his WORC Dynamo Designs National Series career, and for the first time in Season 2. First of all, Christian, welcome back to WORC competition. I think this is the best type of welcome that you could ever have, a victory here from Auto Club. What does it feel like to go back to victory lane in your return to the series?
I mean, it feels good. I wouldn't be here if I didn't finish my, English final exam in time. So I gotta, thanks to that for being due at midnight, first of all, instead of, being due in the middle of the day. And didn't expect to win. So we'll take it.
But certainly, though, this win deserved, given the amount of speed that you had since the drop of the green, and you had some great battles with John Cannizzaro, you guys going back and forth for the lead throughout the green flag runs, and it felt like even as the tires were off, nobody was a real loser in that front. You both continued to put on great battle after great battle, lap after lap. So what was it like to battle with John Cannizzaro for that long and to race each other as cleanly as you guys did?
Oh, that was actually a ton of fun. That was really fun racing with John. Because I don't know, we were both genuinely really equal that entire race. And if I was going to lose to anyone, I guess, obviously I want to win, but if I was going to lose to anyone, I would have, rather it be him than anyone else. But thankfully, I believe we got one too. So that's good. We definitely were the 2 best cars all day. But that was genuinely one of the most fun battles, probably the most fun races I've had in a long time because it was just me and him having a clean battle the whole time. So, yeah, I don't know.
I know that a lot of the green flag runs were broken up with some of the yellows that we had in the middle of the field. Did that shake up your rhythm by any means, or was it just simple reset and go at it again?
The only caution that really shook up my rhythm was probably when that quick one where I led on one restart and then John passed me on the top in three and then he restarted with the lead. That was the only one that really shook me up a bit because I was so used to restarting in the lead that entire race. But thankfully found my way back up to the front. So yeah, it didn't really throw me off too much.
Well, you outlast the entire field on that last run or so, and you take your first win of Season 2. You actually tie for second on the all-times wins list with Parker White, so certainly that's going to mean something and maybe some more momentum for you going into the rest of the campaign. Christian, though, before we let you go on this victory here in the California 140, is there anybody else you just want to give a shout-out to or thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, I want to thank, first of all, my crew chief, Ethan Harrison, calling all the shots. Couldn't have done it without him. Big part of the program. Gotta love having him around. All the guys at the shop for their hard work. Thanks to you for broadcasting. I kind of forgot this was broadcasted. I'm a bad racer, but yeah, it was fun. I'll have fun watching it later tonight.
Well, it was a lot of fun watching you on track, and Christian, a fantastic win here in Fontana, California. On behalf of all of us here at the KBueno Racing Network, congratulations on the W. Hopefully we get to see you in the rest of this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series season. Congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you.
So Christian Visconti in the 80 machine, the Visco car machine, back in a familiar place, Victory Lane here from Auto Club. Brand new paint scheme as well. That's a Freddy Fazbear Five Nights at Freddy's inspired paint scheme. I was going to point it out earlier in tonight's race, did not do it, but a new paint scheme, same name, same driver behind the wheel, and it's Visconti to the win here in Fontana, California. We'll talk to the driver who comes home in P2, and what a fantastic run by John Cannizaro. And John, I know that in those last laps, you didn't really have anything there for Christian Visconti, but did you feel there might have been anything that you could have changed to possibly close in that gap in the final laps?
There's probably something I could have done right before that final caution. I just burnt everything up trying to get back to him because he short pit me, and I think that just led to it because no matter what line I ran, he was just faster. That's just Christian being Christian. He's always been faster than me. The guy's got natural talent when it comes to these tracks and saving tires. So I think if I could go back and change anything, maybe I'd just, simmer down for once in my life and not burn off the right front.
Well, nonetheless, I talked with Visconti about it in Victory Lane, just the absolute fierceness of the battle that you both had lap after lap in those long green flag runs. What was it like to race against him? I know you guys had broken away from the field. You guys had kind of let some drivers get close. I know Joe Berge was in the mix for the top three as well while you guys were going side by side. But what was it like to continuously battle with the driver over and over? And you guys raced so clean and so great for that P1 spot all race.
Well, I expected about 15 laps in to, just fall out to the back like I usually do. When I didn't, I was kind of making up strategy off the top of my head as we were doing laps. As long as I kept him on the inside, I knew he wouldn't get by me because I can carry the momentum. And I know Joey ended up catching up to us, and he couldn't really do anything because he was all burnt out from catching us. Nobody else could really get to us, and there was no lap traffic to change anything. So at that point, it was just, full out war. Whoever can hurl the car into the corner the hardest.
Well, you came into tonight 5th place in the point standings. I know with this finish from Auto Club, it shoots you up a couple of spots. I know you were just some points below Gino Mero and Joe Berge going into this race. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to bounce ahead of both of them going into the next race. I know that there's a holiday break in between tonight and what's going to be our next race, race number 6 of the season. Long Beach up on the calendar before this final half of the regular season. What's your goal before we get to the end of that race at Myrtle Beach?
Finally gonna win. I think next week but next race at Long Beach is gonna be a good shot. As long as Parker White doesn't show up, our road course god in this league. I just have this natural thing of being able to drive 2-ton stock cars around road courses. So hopefully that comes out next race. I haven't got a win this season in WORC yet, and I really want one. I don't like going winless through seasons, but hopefully if I don't win, I can at least keep a solid point standing up till Myrtle Beach and keep myself in a points run for the title.
Well, there's one thing that we know for sure, John, that you are knocking on the door for the first checkered flag here in this WORC Dynamo Designs National Series. John, before we let you go on the P2 in the California 140, anybody else you want to give a shout out to or thank for tonight's podium finish?
Family, friends, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. He's all over my cars. He's a pretty cool guy. Orange County Fair Speedway, OCFS Burnout Nationals. Tommy's also a great guy. He's with me everywhere. We have a staff party on Saturday that I'll probably miss because of the snow. But that's just New York things. You for putting on the broadcast. I think you're probably one of the better broadcasters we have. And Brayson put on the league.
We certainly appreciate the kind words, Don, on behalf of all of us here at the KBueno Racing Network. Congratulations on the P2 finish. Happy holidays, and we'll see you at Long Beach in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you. You too.
That's John Canizaro, the driver of the 018, short of the win, but we know his consistency will get him to that checkered flag sooner than later. Those top two, the heaviest hitters all night long, but they are joined on the podium by Ryan Martin in the 9 machine, and we're joined by Ryan Martin, who comes home P3 in this California 140. Ryan, I know that last restart gave you a couple laps, so you potentially had a shot at Canizaro for second, but at the front, you were able to turn things around at the halfway mark of this race. What was it like behind the wheel here at this track tonight?
It was awesome. That low line hooked up way better than I expected it to at all tonight.
And we saw it work wonders for you. I know you were around the mix of the traffic and around a lot of the great fighting are in this field. What was that like to be there in that group and trying to maintain? Because we know that we had the mix of short runs, some cautions, and some long runs in this race as well.
It's pretty good, honestly. This car was pretty even both on the short run and the long run. That first lap, maybe going through one, they'd be a little sketchy. But once we got that first lap in, everybody kind of work it out, and it was just trying not to get people to cut down on you, and that was the main part with traffic.
So you're able to work through that P3 here tonight from Auto Club Speedway. I know this race, certainly a momentum booster for you with this podium finish. And now that we're officially at the halfway mark of the season, we've got some more tracks up on the tap. Long Beach, Texas, Charlotte Dirt, Atlanta, Myrtle Beach. Are there any tracks there that catch your eye for the last half of the regular season? Or what is your motivation, your strategy going to be to try and make yourself a run for the playoffs this year?
Honestly, I think I'm going to keep doing like I did this race, just not qualify, not try to push it too hard in qualifying, because I think that's what's got me the last 2 weeks, is just being in that main pack. Everybody trying to go right away has got me. But Myrtle Beach is the track I look forward to the most, because the short tracks always seem to be better for me.
Well, a lot of highlights in the rest of the schedule. I know tonight's certainly a highlight from Fontana, California. Ryan, before we let you go on the P3 finish in the California 140, is there anybody you just want to give a shout out to or thank for tonight's performance?
I'd like to thank Bergson for the new team, run the league great as always, and my friends and family that come out to watch.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time, Ryan. On behalf of all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, congratulations on the P3. Happy holidays to you and your family. We'll see you at Long Beach in a couple of weeks.
Happy holidays to you too, Kenneth.
So that is Ryan Martin, the 9 machine, who came out of nowhere, ends up in your top 3 at the end of these 70 laps and did not extend this race, this time by from the virtual Auto Club Speedway. So it was all Christian Visconti at the front of the field and never looked back. By the time we got to it, it takes away his 3rd career victory. And again, ties him for 2nd all-time with the driver of Parker White, a very famous now eNASCAR contender iRacing Series driver. We wish him the best of luck going through the last part of that schedule and heading potentially, I believe he's locked in to the Coke Series for 2023. But a large milestone for Christian Visconti, running up the ranks, trying to catch up to Garrett White, who has the most at 5 after he picked the last win up at Kansas Speedway just 1 week ago. Here's a look at your entire WORC Dynamo Designs National Series schedule and what we have left up. We cross off Auto Club, the official halfway mark of this season, and now we get to our second half and arguably the most spicy with the point standings as close as ever. We go to Long Beach for the first road course race of the schedule, and the only one we'll see in this calendar. Long Beach is going to be a big wild card track with these Xfinity Series cars. The track that usually hosts IndyCar and sports car racing. We'll see how that all fares out. After the holiday break, that'll be December 29th, and then we will close off the year and go for 2023 with our patriotic race at the Texas Motor Speedway. We'll head for the Lone Star State on January 5th. Then the next week, we'll go to our first and only dirt track affair of the calendar with Charlotte Dirt. We'll head to Atlanta Motor Speedway, race number 9, and then Myrtle Beach, race number 10, the last one of the regular season. We'll decide the drivers who end up in our 2023 playoffs. We'll kick it all off at Charlotte for Charlotte Week in the WORC Series. And then we'll introduce from Bristol, Pocono, have another round in Chicagoland, Talladega, Martinsville before we decide the championship 4 that will gun for the title at Homestead of Miami Speedway in mid-March. So that does it for our coverage of the California 140 of the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series from the Auto Club Speedway. So for Brayson Collins and everybody at the World Online Racing Championship, For Charlie Byron, Keelan Belcher, Francisco Bacallao of the KBueno Racing Network, and for myself in the broadcast booth tonight, Kenneth Bueno, we say good night from Auto Club Speedway. Congratulations to Christian Visconti on win number 1 of Season 2, becoming the 4th different winner in the series for the year. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time from Long Beach, California for the first and only road course race of the schedule.